Have I been muted all this while? Oh my god. What? Let's do this again. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna start over and let's do it. Hey, what's up? Hi everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Anika and I'm your host today. I will be with you all for the next 1 hour. This show is called What Next with Anika, which is me. And I love that you all are here with me today. Thank you so much for joining. And I hope you're having a great Monday so far. I am here with this new show. We streamed 2 weeks ago and it was all about creating your passion project, how you create a brief by yourself, get inspired by the first 5 objects you see in your house when you wake up. And today is all about using the logo designs we created last week, 2 weeks ago, with mockups. So we created a wine brand. I don't know if you all attended that stream or watched the replay, but if you did not, you can go back to YouTube or Behance to watch the replay. I know Val can post a link to the replay for the first part, but if you missed it, you can watch it. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the chat and I will be happy to answer. Which also reminds me, we are live both on YouTube and Behance. So say hi if you're joining us live and I will try to answer any questions. I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. Hey, Jan, Bliss, Rob, welcome to the stream. Cody, Val, Elizabeth, Alessandra, Robert, RB, Misty, Val, Bruce. Okay, good. Okay, we're good. We're good now. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me all. All right, let's jump into what we did last time. I'm going to give you a quick recap of what we did on day 1 just in case you missed something. I do have this design brief layout that I created, the presentation. We had a creative brief. I was talking about what a creative brief is. We talked about why we needed a creative brief and what you can include in the creative brief. We were talking about what's really important when you're working with a client, and I made this fun little flow chart. I don't know if you all actually need this presentation or a template, but if you do, I can share it with you all and send it over maybe on Discord or something, or if you follow me, I can put it over on Instagram as well. But we do have all of this, which brings me to implementing the idea that we had for the logo design, which means ideation, and that means a lot of logo sketches. Well, this image is sort of blurry right now, but maybe if I zoom out, you would be able to see it better. But we do have Juniper, which was inspired by my outdoor box, and we had this idea about creating wines, and I went ahead to create this juniper wines right here. So I created this idea about having grapes instead of the I, and this is the logo mark. This is the secondary text that I wanted to add because these are boutique and these are just created as one-offs and you can't get them anywhere. There were brand values in here somewhere. I think I put the concept in here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. That's where we are. These were about new world wine drinkers, and I feel like all of that really ideates and brings it into being a very modern brand. And it's inspired by indulgence and beautiful scenes of the lake and works of the local artists. So I wanted to use all of that in my work, and while I created the logo, I thought about all of those points and I thought about what is the deliverable here, because this is a passion project. I really need to think about what the end goal is, as I'm the client here and I need to define what I'm looking for out of this project. Over here it says logo system, typography and color, packaging and brand guidelines. I see there are more people joining us. Let me know where you're joining us from. I see Ryan. Hey Ryan, thank you so much for joining. Hi Neeraj, welcome on in. Alessandra says I would find it very helpful. All right, I will make it a point that I will share the template with you all soon, before the next stream. And yeah, this is The stag logo, I think I created two versions here, and we talked about the label to have something like this. But I honestly ended up with just these guys, and these are the monochrome colors here. We have the black on white and white on black here. And then I created the iconic mark, which is this. I really feel that when you're creating logos, it's not just about creating a logo that works, it's about creating a logo that works, which is also responsive. So whenever you're creating a logo, it's not just creating the logo and you're done. It's not a one and done situation here, because I'm creating a responsive logo that works with an iconic mark. It works as a favicon. It works on a business card. It works as a mock-up. It works when it's blown up to the size of a wall or a mural. And you got to think about all of that when you're creating a logo. But this is exactly what I thought about when I was creating it. And I thought, when I downsize it and I scale it really, really small, would I be able to tell that these squares? And that brings me to a brand guideline, which essentially tells you how small you can make the logo, or what is the minimum size that you can use for the logo, right? Which we'll talk about that in just a second. So this is a stag logo, and these are the colors I ended up going with. I do have my swatches panel right here, and you can see we have global colors. I don't know if you can see my swatches. Let me bring my swatches over here. These are my global colors right here, and I use these for all the colors that we have. So the pinkish purple thing is what we have for the red wine, and the golden or the beigeish yellow is the one that I chose for white wine. This is how the logo lockups look like, and then we have more variation. We have some more stag logos here, and we created some. I did my homework, and I decided to do some colors, think about all of these. And all I did was I created a square right here. This is what I did. And then I went on to my color palette, which is double clicking the color picker, and which means I essentially now have all the RGB, the CMYK, and the hex code. I think this is super helpful when you're sending this off to client in form of a brand guideline, because not only does it help your clients use the right colors in their work and their design in the future, but it also helps another designer that you've passed on the work to, or maybe you're not working on the project anymore and it's 10 years down the line, they want to update something, they would know exactly the colors that you chose, and it makes for great consistency. So having something like these is essentially why you would make it. And then I went ahead and used a color lockup, and this is essentially what I did. So we have some images here that I have used, but why don't we go ahead to a label design, and I want to talk about what I did to make the label, but I also want to show you what a die line is and how you can create something like this yourself. So I'm going to put my swatches back inside, and this is my die line file. It's a separate file that you would send for print. Right now it is in RGB because I am going to use this for my mockups. But if you're sending this to print, make sure to have the document color mode set to CMYK. You can go to file, go to document color mode and set it to CMYK color. And of course, you would need to check if those colors are printable as well or not. I'm going to let it to RGB for today because I am using this just for mockups. There are 3 layers that you can see right here, and these 3 layers are essentially the bleed. Let's actually go ahead and I want to make it larger so you guys can see, and I'm going to make it larger. So we have the bleed layer, we have cuts, creases, and the artwork and the base color. Now, what does it mean when I say bleed, or what does it mean when I say cuts and creases? So a die line is essentially a template that gets put into the printing machine where you make a die out of what you have provided to the printer. Now, a die consists of the bleed area, which is essentially if your design goes up to the edge, and that is where the cut is going to be, that is where you're going to cut the design and paste the label onto the wine bottle, you would have an extra threshold value, which is essentially where your printer will decide that, hey, this is the extra value and I don't need this. It doesn't matter if I cut this off. So you know that you have like extra leeway to put your design and bring it edge to edge. That's where your bleed comes in, which brings me to your safe zone, which is essentially the area which does not get cut. And you would think about how you would put your design close, not really touching the sides where the cuts are going to get, and you would essentially put your design on the inside here, which is the safe area. This is the bleed, which is denoted by the green. We have the cuts, which is denoted by black. And if you have any creases, you would denote it by magenta. I don't have any creases in this because this is a wine label. I've taken a very classic style of a wine label. And yeah, I do have the artwork on a separate layer here, which is right here. I have gone ahead to put it over here as well. Now, this is a very simple layout because it's just a rectangular shape. And this is a very easily available standard that you have. But if you have something like a very funky design, which we had over here, I am going to open up my layers panel really quickly. I did a bunch of experimentation here and thought that maybe we should make it like a tipsy wine bottle or something. Maybe we should have this visual language of the logo right here. And I thought maybe I would do something like that. But I did not go ahead with it because I thought this means more money when you're working with the client. This is a custom label. And I just thought that I wanted to do something classic. I wanted to be refreshing with the design that I put instead of the label design that I make. I hope that makes sense. But if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I know Val says, I was just going to ask for a more in-depth discussion of bleed. Thank you so much. And Dakpa 10 says, thank you so much for free class. Hey, welcome on in new folks joining us. We here on Adobe Live discuss all about beginner, intermediate, and professional and advanced tricks and tips. We have a new pro tip session that happens every Friday. We know we had some streams with Val last week, actually. You should check them out. So if you're a new creative, if you've been doing this for a while, there's something for everyone here. Caroline says, love your final color scheme. Thank you, Caroline, for joining us today. And Alana in the chat, hey Alana, says, I know the pain of not having enough bleed. So many designs queued and cut off. Live and learn. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit before we actually dive into it. And this is what I ended up with. We did think of like a tagline, which was great minds think alike. Drink alike. And this is the tagline and this is the brand. Now, what I need from you is an input into what you think of this and what do you see? Like, can you picturize this on a wine label, wine bottle? I don't know. Let me know if in the chat you can. So I was on the train ride the other day and I want to talk about this when we actually go into this stock image that I got from Adobe Stock. I'm going to open a new window and just show you how you can get stock images from Adobe Stock. I was on the train ride this weekend and I was working on this brand and I was talking to a stranger that I met on the train and they asked me what I was doing. And I told them that I'm creating a brand and I'm creating a packaging label design for a wine brand. And they were like, oh, can I take a look? And I was like, sure, let's take a look. And when they saw it, they could not visualize it, maybe because they haven't seen it before, maybe because they haven't seen anyone do it before, or they haven't been to a printer before. And I think that's where mockups come in, because not only do mockups give you a final, like a mid-fidelity representation of how your product is going to look like in the end, they also help you with your layout. So not only will it help me show the client how the design is going to look like in the end, it's also going to give me an option to show how the layout can look like, how the contrast can look like, how I can use color in my design, how typography will work, and how spacing can work. So there are 5 things. I think these are the 5 things that come to the top of my head when I think about mockups. Anyway, let's go back to stock.adobe.com/free, which is where you can get all of these fun images that I got. So these are all Adobe Stock images, and I got here, I saw some of these images and I thought these look really cool. There are actually filters here that you can use. I use the photos filter and I used an orientation filter, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do something like this. I really like this just because it gives me an insight with the imagery that I can use with the brand. And this stream is not about not exactly how to do something, but it's also about why and how. So thinking about the why is also really important. And why would I choose this image? Why did I make a choice? It's about putting method to madness, and it's about thinking why this image will be perfect for my brand, why this image will be great for the mockup, why this image is not good for my brand, and why this doesn't go with the like brand values. So I went ahead and downloaded some of my images from Adobe Stock, and some of these, I think a couple of them are paid, but a few of them, almost 80% of the ones that I'm using today, are free. So you can go ahead and use these from Adobe Stock. And if you want, you can actually go ahead here and look at the Adobe Stock image that I'm using. And Val in the chat says, great minds drink alike is perfect. What a valuable encounter on the train. Yeah, I really appreciated that person actually coming up and asking all of that. But let's go ahead and create our first mockup. We're 15 minutes into the stream, and let me know if you have any questions so far. But this is the mockup. I think I will need like a barcode here, which is going to be the product code, and nutrition information. So this is all legal information, and you can find this depending on what region you're in. So if you're in North America, and if you're in America, basically the US, you can find FDA food guidelines, where you will have packaging guidelines and text guidelines for nutrition. There is a whole PDF that you can download from FDA. If you just Google that, you will be able to find it. But let's go ahead. I'm going to leave it this much for now, just because I want to make it accessible to beginners and to everyone watching. But we have this over here, and we have the layers panel. Let me know if you can see the layers. Okay, I'm going to bring it here just so that it's visible to you all. All right. So the layers panel just has a background layer, which is essentially this guy. But before we dive into it, how do I bring my design into Photoshop, right? I'm not gonna go ahead and export every single thing from Illustrator just to bring it into Photoshop. That's madness. What I would do is make a CC library for it, and that's gonna help me do everything else. So why don't we go ahead and create a Creative Cloud library so that we can actually jump into it right from Photoshop and use everything we created in Photoshop, in Illustrator, in Photoshop, and vice versa. Let's go ahead and create the colors, bring them in. So I have these colors right here. I'm going to select it and click fill color. It's going to grab that color. I'm going to select and bring that in. I'm actually in the wrong file, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to click fill color again, and same goes with the black that we have. I think I use this for the label background, but if not, I'm just going to keep it here. So I have all of these colors, and these are my primary colors. I'm going to group these and call this primary colors. And there you go. That's just like that. I have all my primary colors. I'm going to delete this. This was our inspiration for last time, and I'm just going to delete this. I'm also going to delete this. This also brings me to, what if I just want the logo in my library? What do? I click on creating a new group, and I say these are my logo lockups. And I go back ahead here. I'm going to browse through to my logo lockups and see what we have. So I think this is the black and white version that we have, the monochrome, and I'm just going to click and drag it inside. We have the artwork. I'm going to name it Juniper black on white. And then I'm going to drag this guy here, and then I'm going to call it Juniper white on black. I love that. Val is talking about how painting on the airport and travel really makes valuable stories. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Val. Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's what this stream is essentially about, because I want to enable you to think in a way that you can think about experiences in a way that you can relate it to your professional work as well, or your creative outlet. And it's not just about someone on the train randomly asking me about how I did something or how it's going to be visualized. It's about what you get back from the encounter. So I love that you all are sharing your stories in the chat as well. Let's go back here and bring this in, and I'm going to bring this one in as well. I'm just putting in all the work that we have into my library, which is going to help me later on. I think these were the wrong ones, so I'm going to hit delete. Oh no, didn't want to do that. I just wanted to delete it here. So I'm going to delete this tag logo. I think these were the ones that are perfectly aligned. Yeah. And then ideally, I would actually go ahead and click on expand appearance so that everything is expanded and nothing has, because I did not want this to change and I want it to remain constant. This also goes with your print files. So when you're sending something to print, you should make sure that all of your fonts are outlined, but make sure to have a copy of those fonts before you do that. So when you go to print, your printer may or may not have the same fonts that you're using. But if you've expanded them and everything is an outline, essentially means it's a vector shape, they can use them easily without having to have those fonts in their file. But Val in the chat says that was the perfect input because it's someone who wasn't a designer offering input organically. Exactly, Val. That's exactly what this is. But it's a great opportunity to really see how someone who knows nothing about it will interpret it. Yeah, that's actually perfect. That actually was the point that I was trying to make. So I'm glad that it comes across that way. So anyway, so we have all of these things in our libraries. We have the artwork. Just so that we don't waste a lot of time, I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. And then I'm going to go back to my die line here. I'm going to put this on the side and I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to press Command C or Control C if you're on a Windows. Go back to my Photoshop file and we have this guy right here. Now, how do I put this label and skew it like this? I'm going to unlock my background layer and call it BG copy. And then I'm press Command J just to make a copy of the layer, or Control J if you're on a Windows device. I do want to select just the bottle. So I'm going to use the object selection tool just to select the bottle. It's going to take 1 second just to select the bottle with the Adobe Sensei that we had. This was released, I think, in Max 2021. And I feel like this has been a game changer just because this is so accurate and I don't really have to do anything else. So I'm just going to go back ahead to my add a vector mask and that's it. And now we have just the bottle here. If I turn off the background layer, we know it's a little bit not perfect for now, but I can go back ahead and change that anytime I want. Why don't I actually wanted to just get the label in this one. So I'm going to undo that one more time. And then we have the copy and I'm going to go ahead to make like a quick selection tool. I'm going to zoom in right here and I'm going to create this selection. I think that's pretty perfect. Wow. What? That was what? That's perfect. I love Adobe Sensei. But if you have, if you think that this is not perfect for your requirements, you can go back ahead and click and drag to make it look perfect. As long as you want, you can spend on it. If you want to delete something, you can hold Option or Alt on your keyboard and add or delete something, right? If you want to increase or decrease your brush size, you want to click the square bracket, the closing square bracket to increase your brush size, the closing opening square bracket to decrease your brush size, and that's how you do it. I feel like shortcuts really are a time saver for me. I'm going to undo that one more time and I'm going to add this. No, not that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit again and go back in here. I think this is really a lot. Oh, I'm gonna let it be. Okay, I'm just gonna let it be. So I have this guy. Now this is a selection. What I'm gonna do now is create a group and create a vector mask. So I'm creating a group vector mask, and in this case, I'm just gonna click this guy, and we already have a mask in this situation. So I'm going to press V on the keyboard, which essentially brings me to this, and it is already on our clipboard, but I am going to go ahead and copy it one more time. I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to paste it. Now it is going to ask me to paste it as layers, smart objects, pixels, path, or a shape layer. I'm going to paste it as a smart object and see what it brings. It did not get the background, which is perfect. I don't think I needed the background, but we have this guy here. It goes out of the label that we had, but that's fine. It looks like it's a little bit small. So I think I want to transform that. We already have this selected, which means I can just use these handles right here to increase or decrease the size. I am going to decrease the size right here. And I think I'm going to hit enter. Now this doesn't look perfect, right? What do? What about the mask that I just created? Well, the mask that I just created is inside a group and the group is essentially empty. So what if I bring this inside the group here and we already have something that looks like it might work, but if I zoom out a little bit, it looks like it's not really getting the texture. It's not really feeling like it's flowing along the curves of the wine bottle, and I need to fix that. So I'm going to press transform or Command T or Control T if you're on a Windows device. I think I want to give it a warp shape, so I'm going to hit warp, and then I can use these handles to make it look as good as I want it to be, or I can actually go ahead and use like inbuilt presets in here. So there's arc, there is arc lower, upper, arch, bulge, and all of these fun presets that we have. And these are really handy, and they come in really handy because you don't really have to do a lot when you're doing this. So let's say I have arc here, I have arc lower here. I think arc lower works really, really well. But I am gonna go ahead to bring this in just a little bit, just so that it skews to like just this guy. Maybe something like this. I don't know. We'll think about that. Mike in the chat is talking about how they would have to eat something, especially. Yeah, I love that. I think after every food branding or drink beverage branding, we feel like we gotta eat something. It's just how the mind works. Humans. All right, I'm gonna hit check mark just to see how this looks. Now, this doesn't look really perfect, and I just want to go ahead and click on warp again just because I think it's not really perfect. Think I actually want to undo all of that just because I don't think it's perfect. All right, I'm gonna go back in, bring it in, and then press Command T again, go to warp, and I think I want to do it manually. Let's go here and let's go back here. I think this might this it always looks bad before it looks good. Okay, so think about that for a second. um Adobe Live makes me hungry every week. Well, I feel that. Okay, I feel that. I'm glad it's not just me. Okay, let's bring this in. So I'm just trying to make it look like it's along the side of the bottle. You know what I mean? And this would be something like this, and this would be something like this. Doing a little quick time check. We're 25 minutes in, so if you're just joining us, don't forget to say hello. We are making mock-ups for this wine brand that I created last 2 weeks ago, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Hello. All right. Okay. It's looking good, right? What do you think? Do you think this is looking good? Okay, I really see this thing here which is not looking good. So I'm gonna press Command T. Now you have to be really careful with something like this. It does take its own sweet time sometimes. So you gotta think about whether or not it's really working. You can actually go in and change the mesh here as well. So maybe I'll do something like that to make it look. And zooming out really helps because it does give you perspective, and it's about creating illustrations, and you can just use all of those things you learned when if you've been an illustrator and you're just moving to design. You can essentially think about how you create your illustrations, and you zoom out a lot just because you want to see the bigger picture. And over here I'm zooming out a lot just because I want to see how it's going to look like when I've actually completed the file and I've done the warping. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm not going to use a lot of my time making it perfect, and I'm just gonna go ahead and see how this looks now. Let's go back ahead. We have this guy. I'm gonna hit it to multiply and see how that looks. Wow, look at that. We have this, and I think it looks really cool. I'm gonna change the opacity, maybe decrease it down just a little bit because we already have a background color. And Neeraj, yeah, you're right, we are not doing this 100% perfect. It's about giving you a kickstart on how to do it and not doing it all for you. So while this is not really perfect, this is how it's done, and this is how you should start up. Now I know this is not really perfect looking for now, but I am not, because I want to show multiple mockups, I don't want to waste my time on this. Let's actually bring it back. Now it doesn't look like it has a lot of texture, so why don't we go ahead and add some texture as well. We have the filter library. I'm already on the smart object layer. I have the add noise button right here, and I'm going to click on add noise. It does not show anything up, but I'm going to bump it up. Now you can see that there is a lot of things going on, but I'm going to bump it up to like 9. I found that about 7 to 9 works very well for the range. Let's see. Okay. I think this looks all right. This looks okay. Does look a little bit skewed now that I see it, but I'm gonna let it be. I think my OCD is really messing with me now. So I think I'm gonna go back ahead and do it one more time. Give me a second, folks. Let's do it. Okay. I think this should be good. And then you press Command T again. You convert it to a smart object. Then you press Command T, you warp it, and then you bring it in. Okay, you bring it in. Let's go back ahead. Go back ahead. Okay, much better. I think this looks much better than what it was. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And then when you're done, you hit the check mark, press Command T again. I think this looks much better than what we had. It does look a little bit bigger, so I am gonna do that, and then I'm gonna hit warp again. Bring it slightly in. Okay, I think it's working now, right? It is. All right, I'm gonna hit enter. I think I'm happy with that. I'm gonna hit multiply, and I think I can just add the noise here. And there you go. I think this looks much better than it did earlier. I think I want to move it just a little bit here. Um, we're gonna pretend that this looks perfect, even if it doesn't. Okay. And then we have this guy right here, and just like that, we already have a mockup. I do think this needs a little bit more texture and a blur because it's not exactly realistic. So I'm gonna be on this layer and go to filter and select a blur. I think I just want to do a very basic blur right here. I'm finding my window. Okay, let's see, where is my window? All right, so we can go ahead here and change the blur settings as well. So you have the blending options right here, and I can change the blend settings for the blur, but I'm gonna leave it as is. So let's actually jump into another mockup that we have. And yeah, that is how you make a mockup. That is how simple it is. But we have this guy right here, and since we are talking about die lines, I'm gonna go back to my Illustrator file and show you what I did with the design. There was another one that I made, and this was, I think this works much better than the one that we had. This is also another design that we made for white red wine, but I want to make something similar. I'm gonna paste it here. I'm gonna bring this in. I think I want to delete these two guys, so I can bring this in right here. I can possibly make it something like this. And I don't know, what are some white wines? Is it a Chardonnay? It is, right? A Chardonnay. So I think I want to change this to a Chardonnay here. Let's go back. And I'm going to leave everything as is. White wines do have a less alcohol percentage, so it depends what you're drinking. I'm going to leave it as is for now, and then I'm going to change this color for this as well. So I think this looks all right, and I'm going to paste this into this guy. I think I want a background for this color as well. Let's see if we have a background. We do not have a background. Okay, so let's actually bring a background. Here, I'm going to hit M. A Moscato? Okay, let's do a Moscato. I don't know. I've never had a Moscato. But let's actually bring this in. I think it's too dark, so I'm going to go back ahead. Decrease the saturation a little bit. And increase the brightness a little bit. I think this should work. But if it doesn't, we can always come back and change it. All right. So I want to select everything now. I'm going to do Command C here. Pinot Grigio, Moscato. Okay, I'm gonna change it to a Pinot Grigio. Okay, I'm taking your word, Becca. Moscato is your favorite. Oh my god, now I'm unsure what to make. But let's go ahead with this guy. Okay, so this is a very clean mockup. I love that we have this guy right here. I'm gonna do the same thing and just have a copy of the file. And then I wanna go ahead. Sauvignon Blanc, Riesling, and Viognier. I think that's how you pronounce it. But we go ahead here, and I'm going to do a quick selection. I think I want to do just this guy ahead. I'm going to make a mask, have this guy in here, and then I'm going to paste Command C, and then I have this guy. Okay, I'm going to make it larger just because I feel like it looks much better here. And then I'm going to hit enter. And maybe I actually didn't want to do this thing, so I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to go back, hide this guy. I could have just used my selection that I had earlier. Going to do the same thing, make a group mask and bring this inside. I also want to create it to a smart object. I also want to create a copy of this just because I want to use that later. Bring it into the group and you have something. Now, again, this is not very... This doesn't look like it's a mockup because it is not on a multiply layer. I'm going to do that and voila, we already have something. I think I'm going to resize it just a little bit just because I feel like It's not looking the best. I think the color here, let's try to angle it perfectly. Now this is what happens when you're using images and they are not uh, up to real size. It's because the mockup size that I used wasn't really the label size that I have, and we already have something. I think this goes really, really well with the gold accent that we have on top. And while this is here, I can actually put in the logo in here. Okay, so let me go ahead and go to my libraries, bring into my libraries here. Maybe it can be an embossing, but essentially I can go in here. I think I have this guy, but what if let's see, what if I put like a white or a, let's add this guy. Okay, let's see how this looks. It is gonna be something here. I'm gonna size it down, bring it up, hit enter, and then I'm going to bring it outside the group just so that I can see it. And then I'm going to hit Command T just because we have this guy here. I'm going to bring this, or maybe it can be on the cork that's on top of the bottle. Okay, like they can be an embossing. So think about how you can implement all of these things. And then we have this guy. I'm just gonna like think about multiply here and think about how it can be printed on the bottle or embossed on the bottle, and I think that really elevates the brand identity. And you think about how you can implement these files. Now I do think that this has a very smooth texture in here, but that is also the packaging that we have on top, which has a smooth texture, and I think this goes really, really well. Let me know what you all think about in chat. Becca in the chat says, really want wine now. Val says this instantly made it look so good. Becca says really nice. Love that. Yeah, love that we're talking about all of this again. Now, I think I do want to show the whole label, but it doesn't really look like I can show it here. But maybe just for mock-up purposes and maybe for my portfolio, I can add that. So why don't we go ahead and save? Also, I haven't saved anything until yet. So if you are lurking in the chat, save your work, you guys. I haven't saved anything. This wasn't really perfect, so I was like, maybe I just don't save it, you know. But I actually learned a really cool trick from Val, that she adds lights to her work. So you would go ahead with the paintbrush tool right here. I can use brush on my keyboard, create a new layer, and create like, I think a soft brush should be okay. I'm gonna grab maybe this color right here, and I can just brush on top, and I can use this as like a layer where it goes. Like I can maybe use like a soft light layer in here. I can bring it up top, actually bring it inside the group, and this layer essentially reinforces the light that we have from this bonfire, and I can use that here, right? And that instantly I can turn it off and on, and that instantly makes it look much more realistic than it looked earlier. So I think that's what I missed here. So yeah, there you go. That's pro tip from Val and Anika. All right, let's go back ahead, and I want to go back in here. This is the layer group that I had, and this is the artwork that we chose. There is a copy right here, and I do want to push it behind the bottle, but I don't have a copy of just the bottle, which means I need to get the bottle out of the object, which means I need object selection tool. So I'm gonna hit Command J again one more time. I'm gonna call this bottle. And this time I'm gonna use the object selection tool. Go right ahead and select the object. Now it's almost 40 minutes in, and we've created two mockups. We've thought about what images we have to use, and we've talked about logo lockups. We've talked about how you can warp your mockups to the bottle. Don't look at that, it's fine. Heavy memory usage. So this mockup is really the bottle now, and I'm going to create a group again. I'm going to create a mask, and what I can do now is essentially not think about the vector object and bring it inside, right? I can bring it behind this guy here, and which means essentially, oh, what did I do? Oh no, oh no, hold on. So much in 40 minutes. Oh, thank you, Ryan. You're just being nice. So I have this guy right here, and I want to put it behind the bottle. We have this one. I think I don't need a group for this. Why did I create a group again? Go back, go back, go back, go back. All right, so I have this guy here. I don't need a group. I'm just gonna create a mask. and this is just the bottle layer. Okay, so if I turn this off, this is just the bottle, but I want this behind the bottle, and now I can just bring it in, and that's behind the bottle, and ta-da! You don't need to create a group mask for this. That was my mistake, but there you go. It still doesn't look aligned. So what did I do wrong here? I think what I did wrong here was create a copy which was not the same sizing, because I changed the sizing there. Now this is the thing that I have here, and it doesn't have a background. So I think we need to add a background for this. I forgot to add like the background color here, which is totally fine, but that's not the fault. We are on a different blend mode, and that's the culprit here. So much on a live stream. But now this is the wine bottle mockup that we chose. It still doesn't look like it's really realistic. So I'm gonna change the blend mode. I think soft light might do it. Soft light still looks like it might be something that I can do. Let's see. I think a soft light should have done that, but we will see. I wonder if we could do a showcase like this, show off the full label. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this really helps see, like, look at the full label and also, like, think about how it looks on a bottle. You can just turn it off and on and make a GIF out of it or animated GIF out of it, whichever way you pronounce it. And that essentially can be done in Photoshop itself. So you can go to video and timeline, right here, go to timeline and go to a video timeline. I am on an M1, so I don't see it because I'm on the latest version right now. But you can essentially go to timeline and create a video timeline. I know there are a lot of Adobe live streams that essentially have that. I know Val has done some of those, but this is essentially how it's going to look. And since it does have the detail here, like barcode and all of that information about the bottle, I think this looks really, really neat. I am going to size it down just so that it looks like it's part of the bottle, and then I am going to size this one down as well. So let's bring it in. Okay, and yeah, there you go. That is another mockup that we created today. So I'm going to save this guy. I am going to save this one as well, and then we have one more to go. This is a very similar mockup, but I'm going to create a business card just so that we cover some of brand guidelines and how you can create logo spacing as well. But this is a mockup that I got from Adobe Stock, and I just looked for like business cards. So I am going to say business card here, and then it's going to grab me all of these fun mockups. And as you say, this says free right here, which means it's a free image or a free template. You can go ahead to the filter and essentially change what you see. So you can filter it with the kind of file you have. You can filter it with photos. I select the subcategory all, and then I can go ahead and select whatever I want to see here. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little URL again, and Val in the chat says, love me some PS timeline. If you wanted to show the whole label design, you could have the label lined up with the bottle like that, and it could be kind of artistic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we did here. Thank you, Val. We exactly did that here. I lined it up just because it looks like it is part of the design. Elizabeth says, circle almost looks like spots to put your fingers when holding the bottle. Yeah, I did want to do something that reiterates the brand logo and brings it all in. All right, so this is enough about the die line. I do want to go back to my mock-up right here about, wait, where is it? Where are my business cards? Right here. Okay, so Mike Cabernet, the director of operations, the manager of operations, is here to help you out if you need any help with Juniper Wines. So why don't we go ahead and give Mike a little shout out with our business card. So let's look at the layer panel right here. We have the background layer, we have the editable layers. This was created by someone else, and this just reiterates that you can either make your own mockup with Adobe Stock free images, or you can use Adobe Stock templates to use the templates that you already have to create the mockups that you have here. I am going to go back to my screen and go back here and just show you how it's done. So these are the design objects, and this layer says design objects. I'm going to bring it back up so that you can see the layers panel really quickly. All of the ones with the layer colors, the color coding is brilliant on this one. Sometimes there are mockups that you find on XYZ websites where the color coding isn't really perfect, but I love me some color coding. I love me, if you've known me and if you've been here before, I love saving my work. I love color coding, and I love naming. Okay, so I love that this is really well done. There is a design front, there is a design back. So why don't we double click the smart object and go to design front? And I am gonna go back to my Illustrator file. I think this is gonna be my design front. Actually, this should be my design front. And over here, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna paste it as a smart object, and this is a little bit not the perfect size. I'm gonna hit enter, and then I can essentially go back ahead and do a color shape, and this color fill can be changed. So I can go back ahead, select this color from the eye picker and save it. Okay, tada! What? This is brilliant. What is this? How is this so quick? And I'm gonna go back ahead to my back and go back to my Illustrator file, go back and select the file that I already created. I'm gonna put as a smart object we have here, hit enter, bring it behind, put logo into folder. All right, I'll put it into the folder. It does say put logo into the folder, and I did not listen to them. I did mess it up, didn't I? Mess it up. Okay, put logo into the folder, and it doesn't do anything. That is so weird. I'm gonna hide the golden, okay, just for now. And then you can essentially do the eye picker again. It does show a little bit of a line, but I guess that's fine. Okay, and I go back to my design, and what is this? What? Who is this? But we can actually, I think the colors don't really work together, so maybe I can make this golden. So why don't we just select this guy and change the color to this. I'm gonna select this over here, or I can essentially use the libraries panel, which I have right here. I don't think I have a golden lockup, so I'm gonna go back to my Illustrator file, bring the golden lockup right here and drag it into my library that I already created. And I'm gonna go back into my design back, go back to my libraries, go back to my logo lockup with just the brand name, bring it in, hit enter, go back to my layers panel, bring it inside the group so that I can see it, hide this guy, oh no, hide this guy. And then I can just resize this. Maybe I can size it down because I don't want it to cut off. And then I can hit Command S or Control S. Don't forget to save your work. And there you go. I think I'm going to change the background color as well to maybe something like a white and see how that looks, just because I want to give it that contrast. I think it's too much white, but we're going to go back and hit undo. All right, I think at this point it's all about experimentation and seeing where your design takes you. This background doesn't, I'm not feeling the background, okay? It doesn't really feel like it's just something that goes ahead. And if you were here earlier when I was talking about why mockups are important, we talked about why mockups can give you a good idea about like color suggestions, layouts. We talk about how they can help you with typography, with spacing. You can think about contrast, you can think about all of those good things when you're working with mockups. I think this looks okay for now. There is a little bit of an issue with the highlights that we saw. But what if we selected something like, oh no, didn't want that color. Didn't want that color. Okay, I'm gonna hit cancel just because I feel like I want something else here. Okay, let's see. Maybe I want like a subtle color here. Okay, maybe this is what I want. Maybe I want golden. I don't know. Maybe this is what I want. Yeah, I guess this looks okay for now. And yeah, I love it. Bruce, and I love that everyone in the chat is so excited about this. Bruce says agreed with Val about. Wait, Val said something that I missed. Val says, just want to say, and I think I speak for everyone in chat, I'm so thrilled that we get these shows from you, Anika. I learn so much from you. Well, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate you all being in chat. And I love that this is helpful for you all, and I hope that this inspires everyone watching, be it a live stream or even on replay. This stream is essentially made for you all to kickstart what you learned. If you learned from YouTube, if you went to school for it, there are some things that you only learn from experience, and there are some things that we don't look at from a passion project or a portfolio review sort of a thing. Because if I'm the client or I'm someone that wants to hire you, I look at your portfolio, and this stream is essentially based to kick off that and learn about what next. Hey, I learned Adobe Illustrator, but what next? How do I implement that? How do I show my potential clients that this is what I know and this is my style? this stream is all about that, and this show is all about that. So I appreciate you saying that it's really helpful. Thank you. Elizabeth also says, nice, smart objects are awesome. Monica says, yes, we do learn so much more from Anika. Thank you so much, you all, for being here. This is really helpful. I love that. I love positive feedback, and this is amazing. All right, let's go back ahead. We do have a little over 5 minutes left. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions for me. And I do have a homework for you all for next time. I do want this to really reiterate what I'm saying, and I do want you all to come up with an idea. So think about what you do first 5 minutes during the day and think about how that helps you. What are the first five things you see during the day? Is it a toothbrush brand? Is it a toothpaste brand? Is it your watch? Is it your clock? Is it your phone? Think about that brand. Think about whether you want to work with that brand. Think about whether that's the industry you want to work with in the future when you're creating brand identity or packaging. Think about how that inspires you during your day and choose that as your next design brief. Choose that to make your next logo. And if you do come up with something, feel free to let me know and think about ideas. You can ask me what kind of mockups you can use. We can come up with ideas together and we can help you create your passion project together. So let me know what you have lined up for your thing. I will be back in 2 weeks, so that's your task. Okay, think about what you want to do for your portfolio. I'm gonna use this wine brand for my portfolio. I don't know what you all have thought about for your portfolio. Okay, we all need to update our portfolios. We all know that. All right, so I'm gonna give you a quick recap. I think we're almost at time here, but I want to go back ahead and show you like a quick thing that I did. So I'm gonna open up InDesign here. I do want to give like a quick recap of what we did. We did this this red wine bottle here. And we had the white wine bottle here. We created a mock-up for the business cards as well. But I do want to go to my InDesign file. That is not what you were supposed to see. So I'm going to go back ahead and show you something else. You got some sneak peeks from my Adobe Max session. I don't know if you all know, I have a couple of Adobe Max sessions this year for Max 2022. I do think that you all should definitely join me for those. But yeah, going back ahead. Okay, so this is a template that I'm creating for you all where you can essentially create anything that you want. So for all these logos that you'll be creating for your project and your passion project, this is just a layout that you can use. This is a logo mark and logo guidelines. We have the logo mark. You can use this for your brand guideline. For me, the logo mark is essentially the golden ratio. I use the golden ratio to create the logo mark. If that's you, you can use some information to give more brief to what your logo looks like. There is golden ratio in your logo. You can insert your illustration or your design here. There is the logo type, the logo proportions, and your logo with spacing. Your logo with spacing can essentially look something like this. And it essentially means that this is your mark, and it should have a protection boundary of 120% of the logo type width, 200% of the logo type height, and this can go on for the icon as well. Now this is not complete, but I am working on this and I will be sharing this with you all as well, along with the template that I created for the design brief. But I think that does it for me today, you all. We are also finishing a little bit early. I do want to show you that you can also include typography in your band guidelines. So this is the font that we used, which is the primary font for my logo type. I did go ahead and create like a wine tour here, and I wanted to be it a vineyard fair and a tour. So I created this with Adobe Express, by the way. You can go ahead and put a link onto Adobe Express. That actually is the last thing that I want to touch on. So yeah, let's go back here and show you how that's done. We have just 2 minutes left, so I just want to do this really quickly. There's a lot to be covered in the stream, but I just want to do it really quickly. We have be.net/Adobe Live is what I'm going to use for this, because don't forget, you can watch all of these streams on be.net/Adobe Live. So I'm going to click on create QR code, and if you scan this from your phone, if you're watching this on the replay, you can watch me or Val or anyone that streams on Adobe Live live. So don't forget to do that. But with that said, I want to say thank you to you all for joining me today. Thank you so much for all of these amazing comments in chat and compliments. I appreciate you all being here with me. And well, maybe I'm going to be at Max in person, so I hope to see you there. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this stream helped you out. And cheers to all of the fun things that we have done today. So, all right. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Come back tomorrow to Adobe Live, where we have more amazing Adobe Express streams. We have a day full of streams tomorrow, so make sure to come back in. If you're watching this on replay, thank you so much for watching. You can reach out to me at ANIKAAGG on Instagram or on Behance at be.net/AnikaAGG. All right, thanks a lot, folks. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you next time. I will be back in 2 weeks. Don't forget to do your task for next 2 weeks, and reach out to me on Twitter, anywhere. You know where to find me, all right? I'll see you next time, and have a good evening. Thanks, you all. Bye for now.